Thank you. Tim?
Thank you, Mayor. A few items. On Monday, I was fortunate enough to spend a good part of the day touring all the DPW depots with Ed Steins and Kurt Baker. So I can see firsthand the current condition of all their equipment, vehicle conditions, and other facility needs that they have requested in this budget season. And of course, I appreciate them taking the time to show me around and answering all the questions. And I do recommend that if you haven't so done this year and you have an opportunity, I would suggest that you do the same for the rest of the people on the council, because it's one thing to hear from department heads and their wish list and seeing photocopies that are in black and white, but when you physically go on site and actually see the condition of their equipment and have a better understanding than one-on-one, I think it's easier to make an educated decision going forward this year on what's a priority and what can be pushed off maybe for another year. And also we for the rec committee, we did something similar to, we had a discussion about a month ago about all the condition of all our parks and fields, and everybody is very frustrated and actually kind of angry that the neglect over all the years is so poor. And I recommended that we form a subcommittee, and that committee goes out to all those fields and parks, takes photos, and has a detailed report of all those conditions of those fields. And they did that. They did a tremendous job. And that committee basically wants to, the chairman, which is Ray Garino, would like to give a presentation at possibly the next workshop, and photos of all the fields, the parks, and basically an updated condition so everybody can see firsthand. Because maybe not everybody in the States has time to visit all the parks and fields in an 80 square mile town, but they did put a lot of time and effort into it, and I would like to put that request out there. We put that on the workshop agenda for next meeting.
Well, the one thing I would ask him is if they're going to come and give a presentation, that they also associate approximate costs to making all the recommended repairs to each facility, because I think that while it's nice to know, that we have these on the agendas, but what are the price tags associated with?
And that is coming, but at this point, it's just want to make, basically, pictures are worth 1,000 words, and this is a start, and they did put a lot of time into it. And Tim Rotman does have a lot of numbers, whether it's benches or backstops, what have you. But you really need to see, specifically the Board of Ed fields. About 7-8 years ago, when I was coaching and managing, little league teams, the fields were pretty poor then. It's really, you wouldn't think it would get much worse, but it has, and it's just an absolute neglect. And it will be a point in time that we're going to, ask the communication to go with, the Board of Ed committee here to, as a go-between. But I think it's important. Just like the fact that I went to all the DPW yards and seeing firsthand, and I think it's essential. We're making some huge strides this year with Senzo's Field and Pokemon Farrell Field for the following year. But we have a lot of other parks and fields that are being neglected.
When was this survey or analysis done?
Last week. Last week we had a subcommittee meeting. This week we have another meeting that we're going to be talking about it as well. There's a nice PowerPoint presentation that they've already put together. Yes, we don't have all the figures, but I think it's important that it's an eye-opener.
Well, certainly.
Maybe a little shock factor, but it's specifically. I mentioned about a month ago. I mentioned Marshall Hill Field, and specifically the approximately 200 feet of fence line that's just absolutely a mess. And to this date, it still hasn't been done. But when I went to the field, there's many other safety infractions there. And honestly, I don't think one kid should be set foot on that field. That's how bad it is, and it is shocking.
Does this list also segregate Board of Ed versus
Yes,
township
it does.
responsibilities?
Yes, it does.
Because
yes, it does.
It's not fair to put that whole burden on the council with no jurisdiction.
No, but here's the thing. There's no formal written agreement on any of these fields. The township uses them, but there's no maintenance arrangement. Whether some point in time, we're going to seek some funding, or who's going to take responsibilities, and I think it's important moving forward, because the pace we're going at, these fields are not going to get done. Whether it's the eyesores in town, and the fields are that we are a recreational town, and these fields are deplorable. You go to all the neighboring towns, or you travel soccer, you go to other fields and parks, and it's embarrassing. It honestly is embarrassing, and we really need to take an aggressive approach, and I think this is a first step. You know, most of the people that are on this committee have been involved in sports, whether it's coaching, managing, and what have you, and they have a personal interest in it.